So how does HeartMath actually work? Well, it's a really important question, and it's really based on the fact that under different emotional states, our heart beats in a very different rhythm, such that if we were in a negative emotional state, as this lady may be on the left, if we were to put a heart rate monitor on her, we would see over a period of time a rhythm emerge which may be quite incoherent. Unlike the lady on the right, who's experiencing quite positive, renewing emotions like appreciation, gratitude, love, or compassion, if we were to put a heart rate monitor on her, we would see a nice variation, a nice stable waveform in how her heartbeat is changing moment to moment. And this is really thanks to the intelligence of your heart. Your heart, which is constantly listening to how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and how your body is functioning, and adjusts its heartbeat, its heart rate in real time as a result. Because our heart does not beat like a metronome. It is constantly accelerating or decelerating as a result of how we are thinking, feeling, and being. For in this example, this is a heart rate monitor that's been worn by someone, and it just shows 4 different beats of the heartbeat. And you can see at those peaks there, the distance in between them is different. In fact, the distance is getting less, as in the heart is speeding up. And if we were to plot this on a graph over time, we would start to see rhythms emerge. And this is really what HeartMath studies, because under different emotional states, the rhythms that emerge are very different, and they confer very different things for our health. One of which is a phenomenon called heart rate variability. This is the variation in heart rates between beats to beats, and over time, our variation is a key indicator of our health. For example, in this picture, this is a very coherent waveform, and it's ranging anywhere between 90 and 70 beats a minute. And we could say that the range was 20 beats a minute. That's quite a lot of variation, quite a lot of variability. And heart rate variability has been very extensively studied. And in fact, it's well known that a heart rate variability lower than expected for your age is an independent predictor of future health problems. Because your heart rate variability very accurately predicts how long you're going to live, how much energy is in your system, and how well you cope under pressure, how clearly, in fact, you can think under pressure. And this is thanks to the heart-brain connection. Because the heart is sending way more information to the brain than the brain is in fact sending to the heart. We used to think it was a mind over heart phenomenon, but this is not in fact true. About 80% of the traffic is going upwards towards the mind, and it will affect how well we think. And in fact, it says here the heart signals especially affect brain centres involved in strategic thinking, reaction times, and self-regulation. And it's been shown that in these incoherent rhythm patterns, it sends more of an incoherent signal, if you like, to the brain, and means our brain does not work so coherently. Unlike when we're experiencing positive emotional states and our heart is beating in a very coherent way, our brain can function in a much more coherent way too. And this has been demonstrated by some really interesting research performed by HeartMath. So they did a study on school kids, and they taught them some heart breathing practices, some HeartMath practices, and they measured the difference in 4-month period. So on the left here, the red, we can see 2 graphs of 2 different students before and afterwards depicted by blue. And what we can see here, these 2 students who did these HeartMath practices, after the period of time, after 4 months, I hope you can appreciate that the rhythms in blue were way more coherent, much more regular rhythms. But not only that, the variation in their heart rate variability is much larger, as in these children are making themselves healthier and perhaps live longer just as a result of doing these HeartMath techniques. But the proof is also in the pudding in terms of their test scores. They performed much better in their CST exams as a result of implementing these practices, and their anxiety around tests went down too. So super powerful. And not only does it improve our ability to think and perform and our health, over many organisations, this is a graph of over 10,000 people who completed a questionnaire, and about half of them, 5,692 people, when they were asked a series of questions about their health and stress, They said that they were, very often are always experiencing these symptoms. And what this data shows is that after 6 weeks of doing HeartMath interventions, they experienced a massive shift in their symptoms. Can you see the pre in red and the post afterwards? A massive drop in all these symptoms. So super powerful. So I hope you can see the power of how HeartMath really works to improve our ability to think, to improve our outcomes, how well we perform under pressure, and improve our health and our quality of life over time.